Well, it's a little too early for these super fantastic tomatoes. Unless you maybe have a wall of water or something like that to put them in early, but I'm got a whole cart full of stuff I picked up for my own garden right here that can go in the garden right now. Starting with the cole crops, and that's C-O-L-E, which would include your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts, like these guys here, some broccoli back here. I love broccoli. They love the cool, cool weather of the early spring. They'll even take frost, no problem. So get them out early. They have a chance to grow and develop some foliage before they head up. And the more foliage they have, the bigger those heads of broccoli and so forth and cabbages will be later on. Some of the bare root things you can find in the garden centers right now are things like some bare root asparagus plants. They look like little octopuses in here. And you spread those out and plant them now. Horseradish, if you love horseradish like I do, I always have to have some horseradish in the garden. These come in little roots that you can plant in the garden. Plant them someplace where you can keep them under control. They have a tendency to spread and get a little wild. Rhubarb is another one of the early crops that's probably already coming up in the garden. And if you don't have rhubarb in your vegetable garden, you should, because every garden should have rhubarb whether you grow it or not. It's just too pretty. It needs to be in the vegetable garden. Last but not least, some of these bare root sorts of things, potatoes, excellent to get out early. And onions. And the reason I talk about both of these at the same time is they've got to get in the ground early so they can get some top growth done before they start bulbing out and tubering out in June. The more leaves they have growing on top by then, the better your crop underground is going to be later on. So get those in the ground as soon as you can. And then if you're a little squeamish about starting things from seed, you can actually even get 6 packs of the different kinds of lettuces and spinaches and so forth that they can go in the ground right away. But if you're feeling a little bit more confident, there's no reason you can't start those from seeds. And I just went through the seed section there and found a few things I know I need right away. Spinach is one of them. This happens to be the Olympia hybrid. There's several that are really good here. We've also got lettuce. Here's the seed. I just showed you the plants over there. Peas, excellent thing to put out right now, and you'll really enjoy those by the middle of May, late May, when they start fruiting. And then of course, radishes. Nothing beats a nice spicy radish in a salad in the spring. So that's kind of an overview of some of the early things you can put out right now in your garden. Let's go out and see what MJ's doing with some bulbs. I think she's forcing some bulbs for us.
Right now in the spring season, we're all familiar with the daffodils and the tulips that are blooming in our yards. But it's important when you're planting your spring garden, your spring flowers, you don't forget about the spring bulbs. Some of my favorite are gladiolas. They're very simple and drought-tolerant plant to plant. You can simply plant them inside the garden or inside some pots, whether they be large pots or small pots. One of my absolute favorite things to do with the gladiolas is to plant them inside of hanging baskets or inside your flower pots. In addition, you'll find that a lot of your old-time favorites could also be planted in the garden and inside your pots. Don't forget about those big, beautiful dahlias. Dinner plate dahlias are a traditional favorite of most old-fashioned gardeners. Those colors can range in anything from light colors to deep colors to accent any garden and provide great summer color. Make sure when you're planting your spring garden, you don't forget about those spring bulbs.